So let's quickly talk about CloudFormation rollbacks. It's very important to know how they work in case they appear at the exam. So if the stack creation fails, so if you upload a stack and the stack creation fails, by default, everything will roll back. That means will get deleted. And so we can look at the log to understand what happens. But when you create the stack, you also have the option to disable the rollback in order to troubleshoot what happened and get a bit more insights into what was created. If you update a stack, so it was already created and it's successful, and now you update it, if the update fails, the stack will automatically roll back to the previous known working state, which is, the green state you just wanted to update. And you get the ability in the log to see what happened thanks to error messages. So this lecture is all about showing you how rollback works. So let's go ahead and recreate a stack, and we'll re-upload a file that we've been using before, which was the just EC2 file. We'll click on next, and we'll just say, will failure trigger stack. So we're going to trigger a failure in the stack, but for now, we're just going to make sure it completes. So we'll go all the way to create, and then we'll wait until it's created so we can trigger a failure. So my stack has been created correctly, and now we are in the create complete. So let's go ahead and update that stack. And I will choose a template, and this template I will choose will be the trigger failure template. And so this template is just like the one we had before. We can specify a group description. So I'll just say foobar, just because I don't want to set up anything. Click on next, and it tells us that we can preview our changes. So it turns out that, it all looks like just like the things we had before. So let's go ahead and click on updates. Now we have an update in progress, and while this happens, I want to show you what I updated. If you go and open the triggerfailure.yaml file, you'll see that the image ID is AMI123456. And so this is an invalid AMI. Okay, no AMI is having the identifier 123456. And so what will happen is that CloudFormation will try to create our EC2 instance, and will say, wait a minute, I don't know what AMI this is. And so this is what we should see right here. So the CloudFormation is happening right now, and we get an update failed. So this is what happens. It says, okay, I tried to update my EC2 instance, but it gave me a failed. And if you look at the reason on the right hand side, it says the image ID AMI blah 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 does not exist. And so we get the error we want, invalid AMI not found. And so then we get an update rollback in progress. And so anything that would have been created by this stack will be rolled back. So let's look at what was created. Well, there was a security group right here that was created. So the SSH security group and the server security group, they were actually successfully created. Create was complete. But if I refresh, now we see that because there was an update rollback in progress, my security groups were being deleted. So basically the stack just rolls back to its previous known state. And in some previous known state, there's only one EC2 instance. And so that's the important thing here. You see that if you do an update to a stack that has already been created, but the update fails, CloudFormation will attempt to roll back. So yeah, this basically shows, a failure. And so if the rollback doesn't work, you'll also get an error and say, I can't roll back. So it's quite safe to use CloudFormation because in case your update doesn't work, everything will just be deleted and the stack goes back to a state that worked. If you try to create a stack straight from that failing template, so let's go and give it a try. So I'll select my failing template, click on next, I'm call it create failure stack. And I'll just put whatever for the security group description. Click on next. And in advanced, we can see that now there is an option to set the rollback on failure. And so it controls whether a stack is rolled back if a stack creation fails. And so right now it says yes. So in case the creation fails, it will roll back. If I say no, in case the creation fails, it will just stay in that state. And so we can look at it and troubleshoot. For this case, I'll say yes to rollback on failure, click on next, click on create. And now we get a create in progress for that stack. And so let's have a look at what happens. The security groups are being created right now. The security groups have been created. And so now the EC2 instance should try to be created. But you see, again, we get the same error message. It says the image does not exist. And so we have a create failure, and so everything starts to roll back. So the rollback is in progress, and it turns out that after the rollback, all the security groups will be deleted. So let's just wait for a little bit. And here we have the rollback complete. And so as we can see, the security groups that were created from before got deleted because the EC2 instance create failed. And so we get this, and now if we look at it, the status is that the rollback is complete. So I can still look at basically my log to understand what happens and debug, but in terms of resources, nothing was created, everything was deleted, so I cannot troubleshoot into it. And so to do the troubleshooting, you had to change that option for rollback. So that's it for rollbacks. I think it's really important to be across failures in CloudFormation at least once. And so if you click on that stack and you delete it to clean up, this one will work. And this stack, we cannot update because the create failed. The only thing you can do is look at the log to understand what happened. And then the only thing you can do is delete the stack. So yes, delete. And now we get both deletion of the stacks. And this is how we clean up our environment. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next lecture.